Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis. This is another edition of What the Fugue, where I talk about what's going on in me in my world of comics. Let's see, what all's going on? Well, let's start with some of my comic-related news. I've been a little more quiet Twitter-wise, for those of you who've been following me on Twitter and stuff, and been how much you followed me on Twitter. The reason I've been quiet is it's a lot harder for me to send tweets with one hand. I use my thumbs to type in on my phone, and this thumb I'm having a bit of a problem with. It doesn't hurt too bad anymore. This last Saturday, I whacked a big hole in it, being stupid. I was working on my comic boxes back here. I actually have them on a platform. I'm in a basement, and I've never had flooding issues, but to give myself a fighting chance if I were to ever have flooding issues, my comic boxes are all up off of the floor, so platform. Well, I've got some new boxes, and you can see some of these piles of books. Well, you can't see those. I can see some of the piles of books behind me. Got a whole bunch more up there that I need to put away. So I bought more boxes. I'm going to put off out that direction, and but I needed more platforms. So I was making a platform on Saturday and was having problems trimming off a piece of wood that had a knot in it, and I need to get better leverage on it, and dumbly I stuck my hand in front of a utility knife and put all my weight on that utility knife and pretty much drove it into the back of my thumb. Giving myself quite a few stitches and a wasted Saturday afternoon sitting around in the emergency room. Anyway, I'm fine. Just a little slow as far as that goes there. So there's some of the comic book news. Yeah, if you're using knives, don't be dumb and put your hand in the way of said knife. At any rate, so obviously the boxes aren't there, the comics aren't put away. That has hindered my fishing. I did do a little tweeting before I hurt my hand. I had gone fishing. Haven't been very successful as far as catching the money fish. I've caught a lot of fish. I've been having a good time going fishing. I just haven't caught any of the pike minnow, which is the money fish. There's not a lot being caught right now in the area that I live in that's right close to my house. The fish haven't migrated up this far yet. And it's been insanely hot here. A couple days ago it was 110 degrees. It's kind of been hanging around that temperature for a couple days, which isn't normal for us. We get some hot days like that, but they usually disappear pretty fast. But it's been so darn hot, it's hard to go out and go fishing. Of course, now I got this, and I can't get it wet, so I don't know when I'll get back to fishing. But right now it's so hot, the water's so hot, that I don't know how the fishing is anyway. But so there's that. There's the update on the fishing for comics. Big zero right now as far as money fish goes. Let's see. I'm in kind of a crappy mood in general, besides my thumb, and besides it being 110, oh my God, outside. The continuing drama with getting my comics shipped to me. I've been working hard trying to figure out how to get my comics shipped, so I at least get them in the same week that the books come out. Of course, last week I got 20-some odd books, so I knew that would come FedEx, which means it comes really slow, which means I don't get it until the week after it came out. But I thought I had most of it figured out to where I was going to be able to get my comics most weeks during the same week that I got the books. So I have 16 comics that came out today that are on my pull. Today being July 3rd, New Comic Book Day. And 16 books, the 16 books that I'm getting weigh 3 pounds, 3.1 pounds, which means they won't get sent by United States Postal Service. Instead, they're going to get mailed FedEx, which means I won't get them until next week. And I figure because tomorrow is a holiday here in the United States, that instead of getting them on Tuesday, heck, I won't get them until next Wednesday. So I will be getting this week's comics on next week's New Comic Book Day. Kind of burns me. So I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do. I don't know. I like getting my books weekly. I would like to get them in the same week that everybody else does, so I can talk about them with everybody else. Otherwise, I don't have a whole lot to say about a book because I haven't read it yet, which I find kind of disgusting. I mean, I have options. There is a chain store here, a local Hastings, that does sell comics. I can get a subscription through them. You know, make a pull list with them and get my books pulled. I get no discount if I do that. Whereas now with Discount Comic Book Service, I get a hefty discount. The worst discount I could possibly get on books is 35%, and that's very rarely. Most of the time, I get 45% discount on most of my books that I get. Lots of times I'll also get a 50% discount on new stuff that's coming out to try and encourage you to get it. So that's a pretty huge discount. And with that big discount, I've been able to buy lots of books. I'm not hurting for money, but I do have 2 teenage children, and they suck up a lot of resources. So I have to make some consideration as to what I'm buying and what I'm not buying. You know, so I have a number of choices. Either I go to a local service so I can get my comic books on Wednesday, and I get a lot less comics. I have to be a lot more choosy about what books I pick. Some books that I enjoy, that I enjoy them, but they're not excellent or stellar books. I would have to drop those books, and I don't necessarily want to do that. I have contemplated going back to getting my books every 2 weeks, getting my comic books twice a month. That would save me about $12 in shipping over the month, and I can convert that $12 into, you know, 3 comic books if I wanted to. But like I said, the downside is I don't have my comic books current, so I can't talk about current books. And that leads me into the next kind of dilemma that I have. And back on the ordering, there are other places I can order from. Most of those places that have decent discounts and shipping and that sort of stuff all tend to be on the East Coast. And the problem with it being on the East Coast is it takes so long for the books to get to me on the West Coast that yeah, I'm not getting the deal that I wanted. So I have to figure out exactly what I'm gonna do. I haven't decided yet, but at least the next dilemma. As a lot of you know, Scott Constant Romstar, he is taking the summer off from doing videos and whatnot. He has passed on the comic book roundtable to those of the rest of us regulars who on the show and do that. So talking with Rob, we pretty much come up with that I'll host the show most of the time. If there's a week where I can't host the show, then Rob, our Dowdy, great legend, he will host the show on those other days. Works great for me. I like hosting the show. As you guys know, I've been watching my What the Fugue. I've been talking about doing shows. I'm still thinking about doing another show, another late night show. I know I keep teasing that. I just haven't quite figured out exactly what I'm going to do and pull the trigger on it yet. So one of my concerns about doing the comic book roundtable is we discuss Marvel, we discuss DC, we discuss independents and back issues and whatnot. Is I won't be able to talk current books just because I haven't read them. I mean, everybody else can talk about them. I'm not too worried about spoilers. I mean, the internet pretty much does that for me on most cases, so I'm not too worried about that. But so I'll be talking books that are a week old. So I don't know what people's opinion of that's going to be. I'll kind of explore that and how I feel about that. And if I don't feel like that's really working or working for the audience, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to change something, or I don't host it. Rob hosts it instead. We'll kind of see where that goes. I haven't completely filled that out yet because, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out how I'm getting my comic book shipped to me. That dilemma squared away. But I am looking for, like I said, I am looking forward to doing the comic book roundtable. I've really enjoyed it. Tons on. I like the format. It's somewhat formal. It moves us forward into different things. I'm somewhat concerned without Scott being there that the show might be a little more DC centric than maybe what it should be. We'll see. I do get a few Marvel books. I know our Dowdy, he gets a few Marvel books too, but we definitely get more DC books than Marvel. So I'll have to find some people to invite on that are avid Marvel readers, so they can talk, because I'm always curious about what's going on in Marvel. I don't keep track of all of it quite so tightly because I don't read as many of those books. Let's see. Oh, other YouTube podcasts that I'm going to be on this coming Sunday, which I think is, I want to say it's the 9th, maybe it's the 7th. No, it's the 7th. July 7th. I believe I am going to be on the Sunday brunch comic talk with Runs with Comics. I'm really looking forward to that. Haven't really hung out with those guys online, and I'm really looking forward to getting to talk with them and whatnot. Always seem to be some cool cats on there. I watch the show. Most of the time I don't watch at the time it's actually on, because he calls it Sunday brunch, for me that's breakfast the time for me on the West Coast, but that's cool. Looking forward to being on that and talking whatever we're talking there. That should be pretty cool. I think that's it for Cass. Some news has been floating around lately that interests me or excites me. Of course, this last Thursday was the Image Expo. They have their own trade show. I think that's awesome. All kinds of cool news came out of the thing. Stuff that I find really interesting. All these creator stuff and whatnot. Excited to hear about these books. I was kind of a smartass on Thursday on Twitter. Imagine that, me being a smartass. About the books. And I'm like, these all are awesome. A lot of them are awesome science books. There's one that's called Black Science, I think it's called. There's Black or Dark Science by Remender. It looks like a kind of an old school pulp sci-fi book. It sounds really cool. Hell, I'm drawing blanks on those. There were lots though. And I'm not going to talk about them in any kind of detail because, like I said, on Twitter I was kind of like saying, gee, now are these actual books that have release dates, or are they ideas that they're just throwing out there? Because last July, Image had a comics expo, and they talked about all these great books that were going to be coming out, and I think we've seen like 2 of them. Just now, this week, Satellite Sam, Mike Fraction, Howard Kanchkit's book just came out. That was talked about last year. Pretty Deadly, Kelly Sue DeConnick book, hasn't come out yet. Me and Dr. Monkeybot were talking about that on Twitter. Kelly Sue jumped in and told us that October is when that book's coming out. Pretty excited about that. But I'm just saying that they're talking about these books now and getting really super excited about them. Not sure there's release dates for a lot of this stuff. Some of them they've kind of have given release dates for, but not a whole lot. So I'll talk about those as we start getting closer to realistically those books actually being potentially in our hot little hands. But still, a lot of really cool, exciting stuff there. Jason Aaron is going to be doing another independent book. I'm excited about that. I loved his Vertigo book, Scalped. It was excellent. So excited to see him explore something else again there. And Brubaker's got some more books coming out. Remender's got 2 or 3 books coming out that sound pretty cool, pretty exciting. Just lots of really, it's going to be some awesome stuff. Got to figure out how to work that into the old comic budget and picking up some more of those independent books. So it just looks like they're going to be exploring some really, really interesting things. So, excited about that. But also, are they, like I said, are they selling us ideas or are they selling us actual books? Time will tell. Other interesting news for me in comic books. Look at my list, make sure I don't forget something because I haven't had a habit of doing that. Raphael Albuquerque, the guy who does the artwork for Scott Snyder's American Vampire, he is going to come on and be the regular artist on Animal Man. So that I'm really excited by. His style is really cool. I think it's going to go really cool with this book, and Jeff Lemire will be able to tell some really interesting storytelling with that guy's art style. We're also told nothing to worry about. Raphael was on Twitter saying, "Hey, everything's cool." He's going to be the the Animal Man artist starting at issue 24, I believe it is, and basically he's doing the art while American Vampire is on hiatus. While it's taking its break, that's when he's going to do it. When American Vampire is ready to get started back up again, he's going back to that book, and I'm sure then we'll get some other great artists to come on and take on the book and whatnot. But that's going to be really cool. I think it's going to really make an interesting style that's different than what there has been on the book. But I've really enjoyed the book. I've enjoyed Travel Form on the book. Fugue on the book was great too. But I think this will add a different style, use maybe some different types of storytelling. Should be really cool. Kind of excited by that. Just announced today there's going to be a Damian, Robin, future story of him. You know, I think it's called Damian, Son of Batman, or something like that. Is what it's gonna be called. Kubrick's, I think, writing it and doing the artwork on it. And it's a potential future book. Well, obviously it's an alternate future book because right now, anyway, Damian's dead. Doesn't mean they won't bring him back. Maybe this will be a catalyst to bring him back. Maybe the sales of this book, if they're good enough, they're using this book as a litmus test to see really how many fans of Damian are out there. And if it sells well, then maybe they figure out a way to resurrect the kid and bring him back to the book. I don't know. I'm torn on this. Could be a lot of fun to explore that. But I want to see Damian grow into that, potentially into that role, as possibly being Batman in the future, as opposed to just telling me a thing where, bump, you know, he's Batman, or he's an adult, something happens to Bruce, and then he takes on the Batman mantle. Because I like Damian as a kid, being a kid, and trying to figure out how to be a kid, you know, because of his upbringing and stuff. I really like that. I like that Damian as much as I didn't think I was going to when the character was first created. So I don't know. I'm up in the air on it. I'll ponder it. I'll think about it. We'll see what's going on in the future when it starts getting closer to the time that book's actually going to come out, and make a decision as to whether or not I'm going to pick that book up or not. Whether or not it's something that I'm really, you know, that I can get behind. I mean, I think it's, you know, probably a cool story. I mean, I like the idea of it. I don't know. Go back and forth on that. Lastly, some more pictures from J.H. Williams and Neil Gaiman's Superman. Holy cows, not Superman. Sandman. Book is, and they've shown some more pictures from that. It looks absolutely awesome. So excited for that book when that book comes out. It should be pretty incredible. Yeah, pretty excited by that. Seeing those pictures. Gorgeous, gorgeous art. I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to talk about. Anything else to bore you with. So anyway, I'll be on. Comic Talk Roundtable will be hosted on my channel this Friday. Starts at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I think that's like 8:30 Central or 9:30 Eastern, or let's see, you Mountain Time people, what would that be? That would be 7:30, right? So yeah, if you're interested in watching the show, watching the live show, that's the time it's on. Obviously, you can watch it any other time after that. So hope to catch some of you then. We'll see if we can stay on top of the comments, if people are actually discussing the books in there, besides just saying hey to each other, which is awesome. I mean, yeah, that's cool. I enjoy the fact that it's a place for everybody to hang out and talk and shoot the breeze and that sort of stuff. So yeah, excited by that. Anyway, I'm going to cut this off here, and I will talk to you throughout the weekend. Have a good one, everybody.